Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Steve Barber, and joining me as my co-host wearing the ugly Cardinals shirt is Dylan Davis.
Hey, everybody.
Just had to mention it because my son absolutely hates the Cardinals because the very first time we ever watched the Reds play was against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals won.
Oh, okay.
So ever since then, he's hated the Cardinals.
At least my shirt has Ozzie Smith's name and number on the back. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay, you are forgiven, sir.
Yeah, I found it at I think we were in either Evansville or Owensboro, and we were at a Burlington's, and it was on the shelf. It was like $5.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, Randy Savage also played for the Cardinals and the Reds, and both their
that's
farm
true.
teams. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that he didn't even, setting as my son didn't even really watch the game
Hmm.
because I got the tickets from my work and they gave us like Champions Club seats.
Okay.
Yeah, which was, oh man, it's hard not to get anything else once you've had that. You don't want to,
Yeah.
because they had like the free food. I mean, the seats were just fantastic, and so
Hmm.
yeah, my wife spent the whole time just basically up in that part. Well, and also because at the beginning of the game, the sun was right on us, for like the first hour, and so
Yeah.
and so he didn't even really watch the game. And it came out, and he said, "Well, who won?" Was the Cardinals. He said, I hate the Cardinals.
Well, I used
that
to give my wife crap for years because she likes the Cardinals, and I'm a diehard Yankees fan, which she likes the Yankees too, but she loves the Cardinals. And so, but I ended up making a deal with her because she was a Indianapolis Colts fan. Andrew Luck retired, and she's like, "I'm just done with this team," and I'm like, "Well, just come on over to the Packers.
that's right.
The
Come
water's
on.
fine. Come on over." So she's like, "Okay." She's like, "I'll support the Packers, but you have to support the Cardinals." And I'm like, "All right, fine."
Yeah, and but because you got the Cardinals on, I got the Led Zeppelin on.
Yeah.
But you know what shirt would be better than that,
What? Armchair booking. Yep.
which you can get at tpublic.com/user/armchair booking, armchair dash booking dash podcast. We finish all that. And there you can get any kind of shirt in these designs so far. We're going to add some more. You can even get long sleeve shirts. Ooh, look at that. Those look pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even though winter is, well, I don't know what the weather's doing anymore. It's so bipolar.
I don't know. It's from what I heard, we're supposed to get another cold snap. So
I saw that earlier. That's on the
I don't
weather
know.
app. But when the cold snap hits, hopefully if I get something ordered in time, I can have my own long sleeve armchair booking t-shirt. And if your kids like shirts, like my son loves hoodies, well, I have to get him a armchair booking hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so don't go through life without an armchair booking shirt. And if you don't like wearing the shirts, if you just want to carry stuff, go get a tote. So there's armchair booking. No idea why it's doing it like that. Because that's actually supposed to be a white background with red letters and the black ring. But either way, it still looks pretty cool. I don't even carry totes. I may give me a tote just so I can have one of these so I can show it to people and make everybody jealous. They'll want to get their own armchair booking tote. But besides that, if you want to get a hold of us in any kind of email about other kind of designs you may have, or just say you want to say something about the show, just tell us something. It's armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on facebook.com at facebook.com/armchairbookingpodcast. You can find us on Instagram at armchairbooking. Find us on Twitter at bookingarmchair. Find us on TikTok at armchairbooking. Let's see, no Snapchat. Yeah, because, well, it's only there for a day and it just disappears.
Yeah.
And
I just feel like I'm too old for Snapchat.
I have it to monitor. I got it first to monitor what my daughter does, but I still feel like I don't know. I barely know what I'm doing on TikTok, and that's just I know how to make a video and upload. That's about it. But I mean, we've been getting those done, and you can find us on any audio platform that's out there. All you have to do a search for Armchair Booking Podcast. Sometimes put an Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. Definitely get to us. I don't think there's any other armchair bookings out there. But sometimes when you start typing in armchair for the podcast, you'll start finding podcasts about actual armchairs.
Oh,
They exist.
okay.
Yeah, they
Wow.
actually exist. And I am still aware of iHeartRadio. They still suck when it comes to their customer support, trying to get us on there. So I may just yank them all off iHeartRadio and just say, we had
Yeah,
issues.
because they haven't updated anything for us since like September of last year.
Sid Holland.
So it's, and it's like, why? Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, because it's like, why keep it on there if they're not going to?
It makes us if people are only relying on iHeartRadio to listen to us, it makes it look like we stopped producing episodes.
Yeah, and that is definitely not the case.
Right. So we've recorded a good 70 episodes at least since then. So, but any other audio platform, we're there. And of course, last but not least, we are hosted by Block Talk Radio. I get everything?
Yeah, got everything.
All right, cool. So that means we can get started on this review of this premium live event that happened on this past Saturday.
And I went into this like, well, Crown Jewel was much better than I expected. Mm-hmm. Maybe this one will be the same. It was not.
This one, I mean, I thought it was fine up to the very end when they crapped the bed.
For me, there was several things on here that I didn't watch the pre-show. I didn't realize
I didn't realize
that Rey Mysterio and The Miz were going to be on the pre-show. I thought they'd be on the main show, so I didn't watch the pre-show.
Yep.
But there was just a few things throughout the pay-per-view that I was that just rubbed me the wrong way. And then there was one thing that's just, my wife heard me, my office is in my bedroom. So I'm in here watching it. And then I'm like losing my mind, not in a good way. And my wife thought that my youngest daughter had gotten in trouble or something. And I had to tell her, I'm like, no, just a stupid booking decision. Went on my rant. So
was this right at the time that you texted me?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
We knew it was going to happen. And
it was exactly that time. As soon as it happened, I texted you and I was yelling while I was texting you.
And, like I said, our houses, our living rooms, our walls, the laptops can only take so much damage.
Yeah.
But we will get to that. It's the last match on the thing, so we have a little bit of time before we got to even mention it. Really. Yeah. And like you said, I totally missed the Rey Mysterio and Miz match because I got the pre-show. I'm thinking they said it started at noon. And I was like, wait a minute. What's going on?
Yeah, there wasn't even like I didn't even see a tweet or anything about the pre-show.
Normally they do send those.
Normally they do that and they're like, this match is going to be on the pre-show. Pre-show starts at a certain time. They didn't even do that. So I didn't even think they were going to have a pre-show. I just thought that they were going to, start with it's 11 o'clock my time. I'm Central. And I thought that they were just going to start the pay-per-view and have all the matches on the main card.
And having to wake up fairly early on a Saturday to start watching a pay-per-view premium live event at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, oh, God, that's my one day I get to sleep in every week. And if anybody out there is saying, well, no, there's Sunday. No, I play in my church's praise and worship team. And we have to be there at 8:30, which means I'm still waking up to an alarm on Sundays. And in fact, this past Sunday, and I'm the type of person, I got like 4 alarms set for every day, in 15-minute intervals. I forgot that I had turned off the second 2 alarms. And I normally leave my house around like 10 after 8, something like that. And that's after, I've gotten up, showered, changed clothes, eaten breakfast, brushed my teeth, just everything, morning routine, make sure got my coffee in my armchair booking mug, which I don't have in front of me right now, but I have it, and go out the door. I woke up, I hit the alarm. It's like, okay, next one to go off. Yeah, it didn't go off, so I didn't actually wake up again until like around 7:45.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was rushing to.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually texted, "Hey, I'm on my way. I'm running a little bit behind." So, um, but yeah, so my only day to sleep in really is Saturday. But fortunately for me, I mean, I think, oh, it starts at noon. Okay, that's plenty of time, and still missed the first match.
Yeah. I do know that because the Miz did cut they had like a little backstage interview with the Miz, and he was talking about having a partner uh, to help him with the Mysterios. And I've seen all the reports of who that partner is going to be. It's going to be Logan Paul. Yeah, he's backstage at Raw tonight, so this is going to be the setup for that. So we're going to get the Miz and Logan Paul at WrestleMania against the Mysterios. Yet again, another. It's a case of another celebrity taking a wrestler spot just to get some mainstream rub, and it's like it makes no sense. It's like everybody again, I know I say it all the time, but everybody works all year to get that opportunity to be on the WrestleMania card, and yet you give that spot to Logan Paul, who's going to be there for one match.
And don't go watch Logan Paul's channel. Come watch our channel.
Right.
You know, because we're not disrespectful to people. We're not basically banned from an entire country, him and his brother.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it takes away the spot of an actual wrestler. The only celebrity right now that I'll give a pass to is Bad Bunny.
Yeah, because Bad Bunny has respect for wrestling.
Yes.
And he put in the work to be able to have a good match. You know, he trained for months. He even, you know, he even rented a place in Florida, so he could be near the training center, so that he could train every day to get ready for the match he had at WrestleMania. I don't see Logan Paul doing that.
No,
I don't see Johnny Knoxville doing that, which it's still there's still going plan is to have Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Another spot that someone could have. Instead, they're going to throw everybody in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and give Johnny Knoxville an Intercontinental title match, which makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I don't care about. For me, I don't care about the mainstream rub that they're trying to get, because here's the thing. Johnny Knoxville is not going to give you the mainstream rub that you think of, because Jackass is antiquated.
Yeah.
It hasn't been popular in over a decade. Actually, probably about 15 years. It hasn't been popular. So why are they pushing this? I don't understand why they're pushing this so hard. It's like, I mean, do they really think they're going to get that much mainstream buzz from a 50-year-old Johnny Knoxville who has admitted he has brain trauma from some of the stuff that he did in the newest Jackass movie, and said that he wasn't going to do any more Jackass stunts because of that. But yet he's going to be cleared to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Oh, all right. Somebody has to be slapped for this. You know, and not that we're not advocating violence, but this is a slappable, you know, offense.
Yes. Yep.
And the WWE at one point, I'm starting to wonder anymore. The WWE was bigger than Jackass. The WWE was bigger than Logan Paul and Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't need them to come on the show and to give them a mainstream rub. They're already on the USA Network. They're already on Fox Sports 1.
The problem is because they have not created new stars. They keep relying on, and I say they haven't created any new stars because I feel like Roman Reigns is doing what he could have done years ago if they'd just let him turn heel and quit trying to push him as the next John Cena.
Right.
Roman pretty much built himself as far as this heel run. I feel like Roman has built that for himself. The only other star, the biggest star that they have in their company is Brock Lesnar. And that's because they sacrificed their entire roster to build him up. And all of this other talent that they have that they could be putting all that time and energy in, they don't do it. So there's no creating new stars in WWE. It's just we're going to rely on, the status quo and ride that out until we can't get any more out of them.
And did you watch the entire thing when Lesnar was on the Pat McAfee show?
Mm-hmm.
I will admit, I do have more respect for Lesnar, the person, after watching that, because when they do it, is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, he actually is pretty funny. And I
Yeah.
have no issue with Brock Lesnar, the person. My issue is I don't even have issue with Brock Lesnar, the character. As far as what he is, I do enjoy the destruction. I enjoy him coming out and destroying people and all that. I always have. I've always liked Brock as far as that goes. I just do not like how they just have everybody fall at his feet. And you can't build stars that way if you have one guy crushing everybody.
And that part I actually found was ironic when he said these other guys need to step up. It's like they're trying.
It's like you're going to sit there and say these other guys need to step up when you've been pushed to the moon by the company since you walked into OVW. So that's really hypocritical coming out of his mouth that these other guys need to step up. You've got people that are trying to step up, but then they hear that music, they hear Brock Lesnar's music and know, well, I'm about to get squashed in about a minute.
And your commitment level to your craft is going to drop when you know that no matter what you do, and this is like talking for the people who give 110% every single time, even in the face of adversity, they still try. But then after a while, you're like, why am I going to waste my energy?
Look at Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
Perfect example. That guy gave 110% every time, had some of the best matches.
Yes, he did.
With a lot of different opponents and still got relegated to main event or 205 live, and never got to show what he was truly capable of. And after a while, it would be frustrating for me after a while. I've been like, why am I going to go out there and give it everything I've got, knowing that it's never going to get me anywhere?
Right. And that's when, you'll say, I'm going to go over to some other company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because
and
at least
we see it every month. People show up in another company, they flourish in other environments because they're out of that suffocating type environment.
Yep.
Because everything's so micromanaged there that it's like a wrestler can't just come in and do what got them there. I saw on Twitter somebody said they don't understand how WWE messed up so many of the top NXT stars. All they had to do was copy and paste what Triple H had done and do it on the main roster.
Yep. And also the sad thing about that is, and as much as what I liked Triple H from the time I first saw him, actually when he was still Jean-Paul Levesque, when he was, his moves that he did back then, and this is before he packed on, the extra 80 pounds of muscle, and his move set, I could tell, okay, he's influenced by Ric Flair. He's got, and then some other people. I was like, this guy is going to be good, and
Ric
and it was hard.
Flair and Harley Race were his two biggest influences,
and you could tell. I mean, the man wears his influences on his sleeve, and so when he did become big, I mean, you couldn't help it. Everybody could see, he's good. But Triple H, he was also guilty, though, of putting himself in WrestleMania's longest matches for how many years in a row?
Yeah.
And that also kind of hurts the people, who
hurts people that are trying to get on the card or people that are on the card and get their match time shaved off to make, to make time for the Triple H match. Because like the Triple H Batista match a couple of WrestleManias ago went like 30 minutes, and that was honestly about 20 minutes too long.
Yeah.
For what that match was, a good 10 minutes would have told that story and been done. But between the entrances and then the rest holds, and it was just neither one of those guys had any business being in the ring at that point.
But the good thing about the first match on the card Saturday, the first match only went 6 minutes. And so we didn't have to see Goldberg get too blown up.
That is true. I mean, bravo to Roman for carrying that match for what it was. I mean, because there's only so much you're going to get out of Goldberg. I mean, like I said, the aesthetics is there. He still looks like a monster. He's in great shape to be 55, but he had, again, it's a case of he had no business being in the ring with Roman Reigns.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand this. It's like you have nothing else to prove. You've been a world champion in, multiple companies. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a legend. Go home and be happy. Quit chasing this. I don't know what he's chasing, but it's like, just stop, because now it's gotten to the point where, for me, it's kind of embarrassing to see this guy come out. And it's different if he was working with somebody to truly put somebody over, or if he was doing like Sting does in AEW and working tag matches with a younger talent to help get that talent over. But no, he walks in after being gone for a year, 2, 3, however long he's gone, and automatically walks into a world title match. And I don't see the point.
And I know we're not the only podcasters. I mean, everybody's been saying the same thing, and everybody's been saying it independently. Why is it that he gets to disappear for a few years, come back in, and he only wrestles 2 matches, both of them are for the world title, and then he leaves again?
Yep.
And just like what we were talking about yesterday on the show. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned this. The show we had yesterday when we were talking about Black History Month, and really, what did I name the show? Well, you're going to help me out, because it took me a little bit to come up with a good title to actually kind of accurately describe what we're doing.
I mean, it was basically about the gentleman that we spoke with. It was basically what it's like being a black wrestler in, the pro wrestling business.
A special panel discussion on being black in wrestling.
Yep.
And the show, I thought went.
Oh, it was excellent.
It was. And we had 4 people originally scheduled. We ended up only 3. One of them had to drop out because he had some family stuff. He went, and I don't blame him. I mean, because me, if it comes to, hey, you got to do a podcast or spend time with my daughter, I'm going to spend time with my daughter.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, and so yeah, definitely. I mean, we support him 100%, but we were still able to have Devin Graves and Matthew Mims and Joe Pro James on the show, which we've had before. So we knew they were fantastic guests individually. Yeah. And so getting them together, I mean, we knew this is just going to be gold.
Right.
And it was. And one of the things, and I know we're definitely doing a sidebar here, but everybody had like differing opinions about just about everything.
Yeah.
And I thought that was also made the show even better.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad when Devin called Mims the walking thesaurus. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you said that, because now, because Dwayne and I were already thinking the same thing. It's like, man, because he really is a walking thesaurus.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I was happy to see all 3 of those guys on there. Made for a great show. And if anybody who has not watched or listened to it, go check it out. I mean,
absolutely go check it out. It's a tremendous show. You will not be disappointed.
Yep. And this was we were nervous, before it, making sure, because we wanted to make sure it worked. But when we got to talking yesterday about Big E, and kind of segueing back to the world title match, Big E should have been in the Elimination Chamber.
Yes. Yeah. He should have not. He should have not been. When it's like as soon as he lost the WWE title, they did the same thing with him they did with Kofi. They just pushed him right back in the tag division.
And I almost think they almost did like worse because they put him off of Raw, put him on SmackDown with Kofi. Didn't even really say a word about it. It was just like, hey, all right, now you go back there again.
Yeah, the only reason that I knew anything about it is because I saw a tweet from I think it was from WrestleZone, and they had confirmed that Big E had been moved to SmackDown and was competing in the tag division. And it's like, and Big E's never gotten a rematch for the title, same as Kofi. And it's like you can't. These stop starts with this championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're making the WWE championship is supposed to be the most prestigious championship in pro wrestling. It has other than the NWA World's Heavyweight title, it has the longest lineage of the current world titles. There's the NWA World title and then the WWE championship. So with that kind of lineage, it's like you think the company would want to have more respect for your championship, but it's like on the SmackDown side, you've got the Universal Championship, which Roman Reigns has made that belt important.
Yeah, he has
530 plus days as the Universal Champion in one solid reign. And we've had in the last year and 45 days, we've had I think six WWE champions.
Let's see, Brock, Bobby Lashley, Big E.
Let's see.
Are you talking like individual people, or are you talking about actual reigns?
Yeah, individual people. Like the times it's changed. We had Drew McIntyre had it.
Drew McIntyre, yep.
Miz cashed in.
I forgot about Miz because he held it for like a minute.
He held it for a cup of coffee, but Miz held it for 6 days, and then Bobby Lashley won. So that's 3 champions right there. Bobby Lashley had it until when did Bobby Lashley lose it? Because when he fought Goldberg at Crown Jewel, he didn't have the WWE title. I guess that's when Big E cashed in before Crown Jewel.
Yep.
So then it was Big E. Then we go to Big E has it until day 1, and Brock wins.
Yep.
Bobby Lashley wins at the Rumble, and then another title change at the Elimination Chamber. In a year and 45 days, we've had 7 WWE champions. Some of them were, Bobby Lashley had it twice. Brock Lesnar's, had his reign, but that's not how you build prestige for your championship. I mean, it's like they did the same thing in the Attitude Era. It's just the Attitude Era, you could get away with it because of the talent at the top of the card, because you had Austin and Rock fighting over the title. Plus you had Triple H, plus you had The Undertaker, plus you had Mick Foley. So you had Hall of Fame talent at the top of the card, making the title seem important, even if they did play hot potato with it. But now it's like you bury your main eventers and still play hot potato with your world title.
And they're giving out the title reigns like Oprah's giving away cars.
Yeah. It's like you get a championship. You get a championship.
You get a championship.
I mean, I have a replica of the WWE title. Can I get recognized with a reign as the WWE champion? I mean, they seem to be handing those out.
I mean, you do realize, the next time I come to your house, it's 24/7 rules, right?
It's like if you take your belt to a show, you must defend it.
You must defend it. I mean, that should be the rules. You know.
Yeah.
Now, if I was at Devin's house, because if you notice, he had gold behind him.
Oh, he had gold. Yeah.
Now I'm not going to try to challenge Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of foolish.
But at least I was right on my prediction. Roman won. I did like how Roman countered the jackhammer into the
That was
the
nice.
guillotine.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I did like that.
So those moves, to be honest with you, is probably one of the best Goldberg matches I've ever seen.
I mean, and the sad thing is, you could tell he was blown out when he came. He was blown up when he came out.
He already had cuts on his head because
Yeah,
he probably headbutted a locker.
And the thing is, he hit 2 spears. That was basically his offense. Was he hit 2 spears, and then went for the jackhammer, and Roman choked him out.
Yep. And
Roman should not have come out first. Your champion does not come out first. I don't care that it's Goldberg. I don't care you're trying to get the pop from the crowd. Have respect for your champion. And Roman should have come out last.
And Roman's entrance, it is fire.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
I was telling my oldest daughter, Savannah, that Roman Reigns is the final boss of WWE. He's like a video game final boss, and that music, it fits perfectly.
And so this match, I mean, I'll actually give it a positive because
I'll give it a positive because Roman won. Because I'm not going to lie, I was so afraid that they were going to have Goldberg beat him.
And then he may have accidentally fell asleep, but it's the first time Goldberg's ever submitted, even if it was a knockout submission. This is the first time he's ever submitted.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. And of course, in the next match, the women's elimination chamber match, I thought was fantastic.
Match of the night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Match of the night. Those women, they worked so hard in that match, and they put on such great performances. Rhea Ripley is just amazing. It is, she is fantastic. I like the touch of having the swing in Alexa Bliss's pod. And everybody else is kind of looking like, you mean she gets to sit down and I have to stand here the whole time? But one of the best things was before the match even started, when Alexa Bliss came out and she was going around to the pods, and she goes up to Rhea Ripley's pod, and Rhea Ripley's just leaning there, and they're both kind of got that maniacal smile going.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not scaring Rhea Ripley. You're not, no. But this match was great.
And I was glad to see Alexa come back. Finally, because I mean, I don't know why she was injured, wasn't she?
She, from what I saw, reports that I saw, she had sinus surgery, and she was out for a while. And then I think they just didn't have anything ready for her when she was ready to come back. So I think that's why they did the therapy thing.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, she could pull it off. And even though she's getting over so well right now as a face, we both know when she's a heel, she's one of the best heels in the country or in the company. I mean, she's but she really is getting over. I like that they've tweaked this character. This character I can deal with because it's kind of a blend of the old Alexa Bliss with the new Alexa Bliss. Right.
But they're not leaning into the Fiend.
Right.
Like they were. So I can deal with this. And I mean, she's always great in the ring. She was, she was fantastic as usual. So I was fine with it.
I mean, I'd like to see her and Bianca have a singles match because their styles are, complementary enough to where you'd see, a lot of good stuff happening. And I didn't think any of the eliminations in this one were, hokey or uncalled for. I mean, now when you said Liv Morgan looking like Britney Spears, when you texted me that,
as soon as she came out, I'm like, why is she looking like Britney Spears? And then I was on Twitter, and it was just
it's like all over the place. And she even tweeted it herself. And
she did.
Like, well,
she said, oops, I did it again.
Yep, she owned it. So.
And I like that the ladies' outfits matched. It wasn't just, I need you to wear this full body leotard with a t-shirt over it. It was like thought was put into these outfits. Like Rhea Ripley's outfit, I mean, it matched her. Bianca's matched her. Everybody's outfits were like extensions of their usual outfits. And I like that progression as far as women wrestling in Saudi Arabia, where it's just they actually get to put more of themselves into their ring gear instead of just a long sleeve leotard and a big baggy t-shirt.
Right. And like Rhea Ripley especially, she had to just be sweating hard underneath because it was solid black.
Yeah, she had to have been.
Unless they had fans blowing on the ring because of that.
Yeah, I hope they did.
And as soon as I got in the pods, I'm thinking, okay, the tops of those are like graded, they're open air. So I was like, okay, at least they won't pass out in there. Because that's one thing. I mean, I was concerned about, and I think Bianca, her outfit was the smartest because hers was the reflective silver. So lighter color and reflective.
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter, and she hand makes all of her. She doesn't go to a seamstress. She does it herself. All of her ring gear, she makes it herself. And she said that her sewing machine broke down like halfway through making the outfit that she wore at the chamber. So she had to finish it by hand.
So all the lips and everything that were on there, wow.
Yep. All of that on all of her ring gear is done by her.
If she ever wants another, second career.
Yeah. Because her ring gear is always like on point.
It is. And hers, her ring gear, like I said, I thought was the smartest because of in the heat, you don't want to be wearing like really, really dark clothes. But Dewdrop, hers, I mean, she still had, her tartan on there. And, of course, Nikki Ash, she actually wore what she always wears. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, it was just long sleeve instead
longer sleeve, yeah.
Yeah. But again, I mean, the outfit worked for her. Liv Morgan's worked for her. I just thought it was an excellent worked match. And the right person won. There's been some hate on TikTok that I've seen about that Bianca is overrated and Bianca is overpushed. And it's like, for those people, it's just like, I just don't see what you see, because I see someone who has worked hard for everything she's gotten, has even worked hard and smiled after she was ridiculously squashed in 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Last year at SummerSlam, and still worked, and now she gets to, redeem herself and hopefully win the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. That's what needs to happen. Because she won the chamber, and so now she gets to, challenge Becky for the championship. So hopefully everything comes full circle and she wins the title.
And we know the two of them are capable of putting on a 5-star match.
Oh yeah.
And last year when WrestleMania was happening, I was her and Sasha. I'm thinking, okay, Sasha will probably end up having to carry this one because Bianca was still green. I mean, she's still technically she's still green, but man, she doesn't look like it. The matches that she's been pulling off, I'm like, she's been in the business, 3 years? And she's putting on these matches that are just unbelievable. Because even what was it, Mims yesterday? He said, "Well, I've only been wrestling for 3 years." He said, "So I'm still green." But the first thing that popped in my mind was Bianca. And I've seen Mims's matches. He may think he's green. No,
that dude's awesome.
Yeah, and he's in the NWA, and so hopefully, they can talk to people and make an appearance at the NWF. I'd like that.
That'd be cool.
But speaking of people wearing full body suits, next match, it was Naomi and Ronda Rousey against Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville. And by the way, did you see when they actually showed we'd already seen the botch when Charlotte really didn't hit the table when she was supposed to hit the table during the signing. Yeah. They didn't really edit it all that well. I think they kind of half edited it.
Yeah, they didn't. I figured they would edit it a lot better than what they did, and you could definitely still see the botch.
Yep. And didn't we call Sonya Deville was probably playing some kind of shenanigans and her arm was actually fine, and then she would bring the arm out? Yep. And this match, I didn't think was horrible. It could have been a lot better, but
It wasn't horrible, but for me, it felt like a standard TV main event match. It didn't feel
yes,
like a premium live event match. Um, Ronda wearing her gi to the ring was a nice touch. You know, Naomi's outfits are always great. They always
yep.
play up the glow part. Sonya Deville's outfit matched her usual ring gear perfectly. I do not know what Charlotte Flair was wearing. It looked like there was absolutely no thought in that ring gear whatsoever.
She walked in, maybe make me look like an elf.
Yeah,
A really tall elf.
it's like, can I just get a long sleeve leotard? And because that's what it looked like, just a long sleeve leotard. I mean, I don't know if she didn't want anything done or the higher ups didn't want anything done to it, but as elaborate as her usual ring gear is, you would have thought that somebody would have put more thought into what she was wearing. Not that the ring gear matters all that much,
Right.
but I mean, compared to the three other people in the match, it's like she really stood out due to the lack of anything with her outfit.
Yeah, because we're starting to kind of sound like like the Oscars, like the pre-show thing. Look at her gown. Look at what she. Oh, that's so wonderful. We've been talking about that. Yeah, but that's what we do.
Yeah, but the match was decent, and but we all knew that Ronda was gonna make Sonya tap out because they're not gonna let her get her hands on Charlotte until WrestleMania, I'm sure.
Right.
And then of course Charlotte didn't help Sonya at all when Sonya was in the arm bar having to tap out. So
yeah, she noped her way right out of there.
Yeah, she was like, nope. Nah. But good win on a big event for Naomi.
Yep.
Ronda, they're building Ronda back up. So
they're building Ronda back up. They're building Naomi back up, which I'm glad to see.
Yep. Sonya is still a lot better in the ring than people give her credit for. She is a really good worker.
And I'm glad to see her back too, because she had a real life legitimate scare that probably, it made her very skittish. I think, if I were to find out that somebody's been coming into my house and just basically living there, that's
and planned on kidnapping me. The guy had a whole kidnapping kit.
Yeah. And that would probably scare me too. And you and I both have daughters, and so so just let me know we're both nice guys. You mess with our daughters, we won't be a nice guy anymore.
It won't be nice at all. Not at all.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, not at all.
And
I will go to jail with this smile on my face.
And but the way Ronda was able to do those moves, and I think that was another thing that showcased her. Well, they said one arm tied behind her back. Well, behind your back is technically a hammerlock. You're not going to tie somebody's hand in a hammerlock.
No. The way they had it tied, though, it's like you could tell she kept remembering, oh, my arm's supposed to be behind my back because the rope was loose. So half the time her hand was like on her hip.
Yeah. Well, she did make sure not to use that arm.
She did. I'll give her props on that. She made sure not to use that arm.
And there was a judo throw she did at one point just with that one, and they tied her right arm. I don't know if she's right-handed or left-handed, but she did that judo throw, and I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So like I said, not a horrible match. Not great, but it was good for what it was.
And Ronda won like we knew she would. They're not gonna have Ronda lose with her just coming back and her being, her challenging for a world title. They're not gonna have her lose on a pay-per-view.
Now the next one, McIntyre, Madcap Moss, and everybody is talking about one thing with this match.
Oh Lord. Oh my God. That Alabama, because remember I texted you, I said that Alabama slam was nasty.
Yeah.
He landed right on the top of his head. I do not know how that man was able to get up and keep continuing. More reports came out today. I think it was on cultaholic.com. I was reading an article on Twitter, and they said that he told the ref that he was that he could still go. They said he even apologized to Drew after the match backstage for the botch, and it's like my hat goes off to him. I mean, I knew the guy was, I've always known that the guy was good in the ring, but
with a bad gimmick.
Yeah, he's just been saddled with a terrible gimmick. But Lord, I mean, to just get planted on the top of your head right like that, and be able to finish a Falls Count Anywhere match, it's like much respect, absolutely much respect to Moss.
I think Madcap Moss is one of there's a couple people that actually walked into this premium live event, with people not really caring for him, and walked out with people going, you know what, props to them.
Oh yeah, because Twitter was on fire with everybody talking about how much respect they had for him for being able to, continue to fight. He didn't just get up for Drew to knock back down. He took it to him. So yeah, we knew Drew would win. I mean, that's given, because the story is the end game is him and Happy Corbin. But it was actually a better match than I thought it was going to be, given they had already done this at day one.
And I feel like how Drew stood one foot on his chest holding up the sword. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So
yeah, it was a cool visual, but I'm tired of the sword. I'm tired of I need them to take him back to what he was when he was chasing the WWE title the first time, when he won the Rumble and was chasing Lesnar for the title. He didn't need the kilt, he didn't need the sword, any of that. I just hate how they have to, it's like they have to lean so much into someone's heritage.
Right.
And it's like, you do know that it was a multiple time world champion without any of this gimmickry. So,
and he lives in Florida now.
Exactly. He goes home to visit, but he lives in Florida.
Yeah, lives in Florida.
Yeah.
But the match after that one, the next one was the Raw Women's Championship match with Becky and Lita. And I give some props to Lita. I mean, because for someone who, I don't think she's even wrestled, besides a couple of Rumbles, I don't even think she's had a match, has she?
She had one match. She had a tag match with Trish at
That's right.
Evolution, the all women's pay-per-view. But other, like, singles match, she hasn't had a singles match, I think they said, in 14 or 15 years. And for her to come out and put on the performance that she did, I have a whole lot of respect for her. And that was actually a really good match. I didn't know how well that they would, I didn't know how their chemistry would be, but it ended up being a really good match.
And you know what? She came out and she showed why there for a while she had the best moonsault in the company.
Yep.
and nailed it.
And Michael Cole was absolutely correct in what he said at the end of the match, that she was a trailblazer. I mean, she set the tone for the modern female wrestler in WWE, that you didn't have to just, you didn't have to rely on your looks. You could get in there and you could do moves that are normally just associated with guys, like the moonsault and, twist of fate and different things. She was absolutely a trend with her, along with Trish Stratus. I mean, they set the tone for what the women's division would become once we got through the Divas Championship era, that is.
Yeah. And the one thing that hurts Lita as far as like her overall like career was the stint she had with Edge when all that was going on. That's the one, I guess, bad mark. I'd say.
And the sad thing is, like, the live sex celebration that they had on Raw, she did not want to do that, and she was basically told she'd be fired if she didn't do it.
Yep.
And it's like, how disgusting is that this woman is obviously uncomfortable with this entire thing, and then you're going to put her job on the line to force her to do something she's uncomfortable with.
Oh, I mean, it was punishment for, the whole thing, because, of course, Matt Hardy. I mean, they fired him, then they brought him back, and then they just kind of relegated him. But with her, I mean, and I had stopped watching WWE for a bit during that time, so I didn't know about all that happening until like well after the fact. And I've seen some of the videos and the stills, and yeah, she was buck naked, because the camera actually accidentally caught a little something. And I was like,
but it's just that when I found that out, I was just disgusted because it's like, again, like you said, we have daughters, and we never want our daughters to be in a situation to where they're being forced to do something they're uncomfortable with.
Right. And for her to come back, I mean, and after the match was over, and of course we did not expect Lita to win, because this was, and I would dare say this was probably like a last hurrah type match for her. Who would have thought, if it is her last match, it would be in Saudi Arabia of all places.
Yeah.
But then after it was over, I mean, they were kind of cheering for her, and so she went back in the ring and just,
she went back and took a bow, which I mean, she was after that showing, it was a well-deserved bow. She absolutely deserved that.
Yeah. So I mean, the crowd, I mean, they were cheering her and everything. So, kind of somewhat off subject, kind of makes you wonder how Saudi Arabia is progressing from.
Yeah, and Lita has even said that's why she went this time, because of the progression that Saudi Arabia has made as far as women's wrestling goes. So yeah.
Yeah, so and really just kind of women in general, because and I don't know about all their laws. I think women are allowed to go to sporting events now, whereas before they were not.
Yeah.
I don't know if they allowed them to drive or vote.
I'm not sure.
I think one of them they can, but then I can't. And I don't remember which one. But baby steps.
Yeah.
We'll just go. Baby steps are better than no steps. Hopefully the steps get bigger. But moving in the right direction. But yeah, they cheered her. The men were cheering her.
Yeah.
Because look at her. No, I mean, because she put on a great performance.
Yep.
And Becky even kind of stepped out of the ring and let her have her moment.
Yeah. Becky, Becky won, and Becky took her championship and left. You could tell she was giving her the ring.
Yep. And I told you the redhead was going to win.
Yeah.
Now the almost match that almost happened. That I was actually looking forward to this match, and
this was one of the things that really irritated me about this show. It's like, if you were not going to have time for the Usos versus the Viking Raiders for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, then don't even book it on the show. Why would you fly these four men to Saudi Arabia, have them come out, get in their ring gear, come out just to do a beat down spot so that the Usos don't have to defend the tag titles? I haven't heard anything that any of those guys were hurt and couldn't compete. So to me, it was just a waste of four talented wrestlers that could have given you a great match. But instead we get this, like I said, this little beatdown scenario, and then that's it. And they move on. And it's like, immediately after it happened, Corey Graves is like, well, the Viking Raiders aren't going to be able to challenge for the tag team titles. And it's like, then what was the point of all this?
Yeah.
You could have, if you were going to do this, they could have just done a backstage segment, had the Usos jump them backstage.
Yes.
And then throw the match out and be like, Viking Raiders can't compete due to the backstage attack from the Usos.
And one of the it's kind of funny now, sort of. You had caught up with me, and then you had to pause it again.
Yeah, had to go help Hope with something. Yeah.
And so you were about 15 minutes behind me. And when you said, "Oh, they must not have time because of the last match," right about the time right about the time you texted me that the other match had ended, and I'm looking at it going, there's like 15 minutes left, before they even hit the top of the hour.
Yeah.
I want to say that's not it.
That's not why.
That's not why. So no idea why, but yeah, because yeah, I was like, man, I didn't want to, but I couldn't spoil it. I'm like,
Right. Yeah, I had to stay off Twitter too because
I even
Twitter,
said stay off of Twitter.
Yeah, because I knew I was behind and it would have been all over Twitter.
Yeah,
so I stayed off.
Like stay away, just stay away from all social media. It's kind of like when a new Star Wars movie comes out, you just stay off of social media.
Yeah,
because some idiot will post Hondas.
Yeah,
that happened. I think it was in like a wrestling group. Somebody just puts a Hondas. It's like
I don't know why people have to do that. It's like just if you already know, don't ruin it for somebody else. Now, if it's a movie that's been out for like 5-6 months, by then it's like if you haven't seen it, that's on you. But in the first few weeks of release, don't ruin it for people.
Right.
That's like I had to stay away from all social media when I saw Spider-Man No Way Home because I didn't want people to ruin it for me. I had ideas of what might happen, but I didn't want it to be ruined.
Is that the latest one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the one that I went with my family to go watch it.
Yeah.
And of course a lot of stuff had to be explained to me because I don't watch it a lot.
I was the one explaining it to others.
Yeah.
To my family when we went, I was explaining different things.
Yeah, my daughter, she marked out first when the one Spider-Man came out.
Andrew Garfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when, dude, I'm serious. I'm just losing.
Tobey
Maguire. Man, he's looking old too.
Yeah, but when he walked through the circle, I mean, even at our theater, there were people. I heard this one lady say, "Oh my God!" It's like, and like a lot of people were like, "That's my Spider-Man." There's there. But I have a lot more respect for Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man after watching No Way Home. I need to go back and watch his 2 Spider-Man movies because his performance in that movie was fantastic.
Well, see, now they've linked the entire Spider-Man, all 3 of the things. So they're all connected now.
Yep.
So I was like, all right. And Doc Ock was on there. That makes me happy because of that.
Oh, yeah.
All the Spider-Man villains, he's my favorite. Always has been. Yeah. Even when I was a kid, I was like, man, this dude, he's got that. Wow. I'll let him. And I don't know if for some reason Kingpin has always been, he kind of.
Yeah. I like Kingpin. Yeah. I always liked him too.
But we're notice we're trying to avoid talking about the last match.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you've got the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE title. Bobby Lashley's the champion. You've got Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar. Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anybody? Seth Rollins. Yeah. I can't do that. That Seth freaking Rollins thing is dumb. I just have to say Seth Rollins. It's like
I correct my kid when he says things like that.
Yeah, and it's like why are you pushing this? But the match itself was good. I won't say great. The women's match definitely blew it out of the water. But it was a good match. But the way that they got Bobby Lashley out of that match was dumb because they tried to play it off like he wasn't paying attention when Seth Rollins buckle bombed Austin Theory through the pod. They're trying to say, oh, well, he was looking at Brock the whole time and didn't see what was going on. No, he was looking directly at Seth Rollins.
Yeah, because his face was like this.
Yeah. And then and then he powerbombed him into the pod. Bobby fell back, and it was like kind of a slow fall.
Yeah.
And then they're like, he's in concussion protocol, which I don't think that they should.
He hit his head. Like, no, he didn't.
They should never use concussion protocol as a storyline, given what we know about concussions and especially in pro wrestling, things that have happened with pro wrestlers due to concussion syndrome. They should never use concussion protocol as a storyline injury. It's in poor taste. And then, of course, we found out that Bobby Lashley is going to have shoulder surgery. So he's going to be out. They said at least a good 4 months. So he'll miss WrestleMania. I want to wish Bobby Lashley well. I've enjoyed his reigns as WWE champion.
Yep, same here.
And hopefully hopefully he recovers well from his surgery and comes back and can regain the title down the line, because I thought he was an awesome champion. I just thought it was a ridiculous way to write him out of the match. If he could not compete in the match, then just don't put him in the match instead of doing this whole thing. And everybody's watching. So it's like everything Michael Cole said, it's like, you do know that we have eyes and can see what's happening on the screen. So, Bobby Lashley's gone. And then, the match progresses on. I mean, of course, you got the talent you have in there. You got Riddle, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory. That was an excellent showing by Austin Theory. I agree completely with what you said, that Austin Theory was made in that match, because he put on I figured he'd be the first guy gone, honestly.
And the thing that I saw, it said Brock Lesnar went over, Austin Theory got over.
Exactly. Yeah. Because even with it came down to Austin Theory and Brock, which I was shocked about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, Austin Theory was taking it to him, and that rolling drop kick that he does that's a beautiful move. Love that move. And I give Brock credit. Brock was selling it. I mean, Brock was selling his offense. And I even liked when Theory was climbing the cage, trying to get out. He tried to go through it. And then when Brock jumped up and climbed the cage, I'm like, he is really not doing that. And he climbed the cage, and then the F5 off the pod, off the top of the pod. And it's like, well, that would have been a perfect time to pipe in the Jerry Lawler thing from Hell in a Cell '98, and be like, that's it, he's dead.
That's it, he's dead.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I mean, he landed on his feet ish, sort of, but
but just the visual of it was
just as I'm like,
I'm glad he landed on his feet, because from that height, there's no,
it's still gonna hurt.
It's still gonna hurt, so he had to protect himself. But just the visual of it and his selling of it at the end was, made the whole thing. My problem is, of course, Brock Lesnar is the new WWE champion. And,
I would have rather had it gone to because we now know Bobby Lashley, when they first said he was going to be in the match, we know why now.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get the title off of him because he was going to have surgery.
Yep.
How they explained that was stupid, my opinion, because like you were saying, why didn't they just have him do it backstage or something like that?
Yeah, they could have had any of the other competitors jump Bobby Lashley backstage. They could have had Brock jump him backstage. It's not like people are not going to believe that Brock would jump a guy backstage to get an advantage. I mean, they could have had Brock jump him backstage, take him out of the match, and then there you go. You guaranteed a new champion. It was just, especially if the guy's in pain and the guy's got an injured shoulder, why even bring it out there?
Right. I mean, you could actually have him laying backstage with holding his arm like this and saying they've injured his shoulder. And I did notice that when he came in there, he kind of had the boo-boo face, so he really didn't want to be there. And it's not because he didn't want to wrestle ever. I mean, just because he was, like you said, he was probably in a lot of pain. And then they had him.
I've got to give up my title. And
yeah. I mean, they could have had some kind of storyline with the shoulder. Like I said, the concussion protocol was in poor taste. Yes. It didn't make any sense, because how often do people go out of action for 4 months because of concussion protocol?
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I know it can happen. I mean,
it can happen. I mean,
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, and concussion ended Bret Hart's career. I mean,
so I mean, but
it can happen. But and I know a lot of people are uncomfortable discussing this, but with the Chris Benoit situation and what happened there due to repeated concussions, using that as a storyline is an extremely poor taste and should never be done.
Yep. And then the way they had Brock tearing through his part, apparently that was actually not planned. He just
No, they said that Brock just kind of went into business for himself and just because when they were picking a thing, and it was Lashley's pod that went off. Of course, Lashley was already gone to the back. So from what I've read, Brock didn't feel like waiting, so he just broke out of his pod, and then went to work. And it's like, but the thing is, once again, none of these other guys got any offense on Lesnar. He just comes in, hits suplexes and F5s and pins people, and it's like, I get that he's supposed to be a destroyer. I completely understand that, but there comes to a point to where, I mean, in a way, The Undertaker was a destroyer in WWE, but it never took away. They never I don't feel like that they sacrificed other main event talent or even up and coming talent to push The Undertaker. The Undertaker was already big enough.
And he wouldn't have allowed it.
No, he wouldn't have allowed it because he was old school and he was all about getting that up and coming talent. I mean, look what he did with Maven. Look what he did with Jeff Hardy when Jeff Hardy went solo. Things like that. But with Brock, it's like, yes, the gimmick is a destroyer, but when do you get to the point to where you're like, we have no main event talent built because we have taken everything. We've taken all our time and all our energy and all our focus into this one character. And then when he either his contract runs out or he gets fed up or he gets tired or whatever and goes home, who do we have?
Right. And
that's the issue with that's the issue with relying on one single person to be. I mean, and they did it with John Cena. They should have learned from that because during John Cena's run, especially the Super Cena days where he just ran through everybody, he beat, he ran through all the main event talent, and then they didn't have anybody built up when Cena got injured or had to take away to go shoot a movie or things like that. There was nobody to take that spot. So then they're having to just throw people in the deep end.
And like which year was it that they had a rash of injuries happen with Cena, with Rollins? I want to say Orton got hurt. That was not that. It was like around 2015, 2016. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Rollins blew his knee out. Cena had the broken nose.
Yeah, he had the C-shaped nose.
Yeah, he had the Cena nose from Seth Rollins, a knee strike from Seth Rollins. I think Randy Orton had messed up his collarbone because he has that, I forget what it's called, but he has a condition to where it just kind of pops out. His shoulder just pops out. Yeah, it wasn't a collarbone, it was a shoulder injury and literally I think he was taking out the trash and his shoulder popped out. But yeah, they had a rash of injuries and that's 3 main eventers right there, and then they didn't have anybody to step up because they hadn't built anybody up, and they're doing the same with Brock. And then now my brother had me and my brother were talking on Twitter, and he said he doesn't understand why they had to put the WWE title on Brock, because why would you put everything into one match? Why would you put everything you have into one match? You've got both your world titles in a winner-take-all match. So that leaves, on the Raw side, there's no world title match for anybody on Raw come WrestleMania because the title's already tied up in one match.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't see the point. They still haven't said if they're going to unify the titles or if it's going to be like when Becky won the titles and she defended them both.
Well, you might as well say that ain't going to happen. They're not going to give it to Brock because that dude, I mean, he doesn't show up enough as it is.
He doesn't show up enough to defend one title, much less 2. they're not going to, I say, this is just my opinion, they're not going to unify the titles because they make way too much money from TV rights from USA and Fox. They're not going to burn that bridge messing it up. That's a reason that there's a brand split to begin with, because Fox wanted SmackDown and USA wanted to keep Raw. So I don't see them unifying the titles into one. I see Roman winning and then appearing on both shows, because they've done that with him before to boost ratings.
Oh, either way, like I said at the beginning, I thought the show was pretty good until they crapped the bed at the very end. And
yeah,
and that's what you always remember is the last match.
Yep.
And like we've had to tell people, we don't hate Brock Lesnar. We don't.
No, I do not hate Brock Lesnar. I find Brock Lesnar entertaining. I find the Destroyer thing entertaining. But as a fan, that gets old to me, seeing the same guy run through everybody. Mm-hmm. And because this is Black History Month, I'm going to put this stat out there. Brock Lesnar has defeated all 4 Black WWE champions.
Yep.
He beat The Rock in 2002. He beat Kofi Kingston. He beat Big E. And if you look in the record books, he beat Bobby Lashley because he won the chamber that Bobby Lashley defended the title in.
Yep. And I'm not saying that's Brock's doing.
No, I'm not saying that's Brock's doing, but I'm just saying that is a very worrying statistic.
It's a strange coincidence. I mean, that's if anything, I mean, it ain't looking too good there, Brock.
Yeah.
And
it's like one time, okay, 2 times coincidence, but 4, it's not a good look.
And we know, well, just from what we know now after the fact, we know Bobby Lashley was going to have to lose the title because of a real life situation with his shoulder. It didn't have to be Brock.
No, it didn't have to be Brock. It could have been. I mean, if Bobby had to lose it, if Bobby wasn't going to be able to defend it and had to lose it, I mean, I say give the title to Seth.
Yeah.
And then have someone beat Seth at WrestleMania, because Seth is playing a character that everybody wants to see get beat up.
Or, they could have said Bobby can't, he has to have surgery. We're going to have a sub for the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Kevin Owens?
Yeah. Kevin Owens I know what happened to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens doesn't go to Saudi.
Because of Sammy.
Yeah, because of Sammy and just his own personal.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of it. I mean, he's
supporting Sammy. Yeah.
He's his best friend.
Yeah. So he doesn't go to Saudi Arabia either. So.
Yep. Because he only went the one time, and that was for the greatest Royal Rumble, which was a fun match. I'm not gonna lie. I still like watching that one. But I mean, okay, what about, because I watched something the other day. I was talking about all these wrestlers who are MIA right now. They're AWOL. What about Apollo? We were talking about him the other day.
Yeah.
Apollo would be great for that.
What about Apollo? What about Elias? It's like they even speaking of Elias, they've been releasing the roster for WWE 2K22. Elias is on the roster. He's on the game roster. Where is he as far as?
I mean, I know they're developing a new character for him, but because I mean, even though personally I liked the guitar playing,
I did too. I mean, he made it work.
And I'm not just saying that because, well, so because I do play myself, but
I mean, he was over.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes, the lights come up and he's sitting on the stool in the middle of the ring, whether he was a heel or a face, especially when he was doing the, WWE stands for Walk with Elias.
Yeah.
He was over. And it's like, instead of pushing that, they're like, I feel like it was another instance of, oh no, you got over and you weren't supposed to.
And him, I know he started as a heel, but people started cheering him.
Yep.
And so they made him a face, and I felt so bad for him because I saw this happen with him. I saw it actually happen with Bobby Lashley. I've seen it with some other ones. It's like, they get over more as a cool heel than what they do as an actual face.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
And
you don't have to turn somebody face just because they're over. I mean, look at Adam Cole.
right,
Adam Cole has been a heel for the most part in every company he's ever worked for, and he has been over in every company he's worked for. I mean, look at the crowd response with the Adam Cole Bebe thing. I mean, I do it sitting in my chair watching Dynamite and Rampage. I taught Abby to do it when she was 2. It's like it is a cool, response thing to do with the crowd. And Adam Cole is over, and he's still a detestable heel. It's like it's fine. It's okay for your heel to get over, but which it doesn't mean you have to automatically turn him face.
right. I mean, and even look at Roman right now.
Yeah, Roman is over. I mean,
He
did you
is
see
over
that Saudi?
big time.
Did you see the Saudi crowd when he put the finger in the air?
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, at every crowd you see now, as soon as he comes out, people are putting the one finger in the air like he does, and it's like, this is over. Roman is over.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted 4 years ago, except you tried to push it instead of letting it just happen.
He's become the cool heel.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
I know you did the Firefly thing when you saw him live.
I absolutely did. I saw him live. Yeah. Me and Caden both.
Man, it'll give you goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like just seeing that live and then to realize you're a part of it.
I've seen Bray Wyatt live as Bray Wyatt, and I've seen him live as The Fiend. And both of them, they're both over. Both characters were over. And it's like, but and you still got those goosebumps, just different, different vibes. But yeah, and both of them were heels.
Yeah, I mean, they became the cool heel. And the first time I saw Bray Wyatt was actually right before WrestleMania 30 because that's when I got the network. The network had just started.
Right.
And my very first pay-per-view that I watched for free was WrestleMania 30.
Yep.
And it was having all sorts of glitches because you were like 20 minutes ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was, I was like, how does this happen? But when I saw a lot of the vignettes they were showing with him and Cena, and I'm like, I don't know who this Bray Wyatt guy is, but I like him.
Yeah.
Because
I'd seen him on NXT because the whole Wyatt family was on NXT. And that's when I first saw him. And I'm like, if they don't mess with this guy's going to be good. Of course,
they messed with it.
They got to the main roster and they messed with it. So it's like,
I mean, and they didn't. It took a while for them to mess with it, and really, I think what started hurting it was when they started having him lose at like every pay-per-view.
Yeah, because then it got to the point where it was just like, okay, he talks a great, he talks a great talk, but then he always gets beat. They made him look weak.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruined the character. And that's through no fault of his own because his character work was amazing. That was just that was just poor booking decision.
Yeah, and having Eric Rowan lose in 4 seconds to The Rock didn't help. And of course, that was the same one.
Just to set a WrestleMania record, just to get that moment.
Now, granted, The Rock, he had his one line in his promo there that still has me laughing to this day. When he looked at Bray Wyatt and said, "You call yourself the eater of worlds? Where I'm standing, you're like the eater of hot pockets." I was like, I can't do the delivery with the way The Rock does because only The Rock can do that. But I'm like, man, that's because even Bray Wyatt, you could tell he broke character and he started laughing.
Yeah,
it was
he
just
started
funny.
laughing. Yeah.
But yeah, with Elias, with him being like the cool thing, and his promos, I'm pretty sure that he was given permission to do his own promos without being scripted, without handing a script saying, "Okay, read this." And
I don't feel like that his stuff was scripted. I feel like he was just given bullet points to hit and do that. I remember when CM Punk was there, CM Punks weren't scripted because every time they brought him a script, he would tear it up. Every time they brought him a scripted promo, he would tear it up, and he's like, "It's not how you do promos."
Huh.
He's like, "I've never done a promo that way."
Like you say, when you say during your promo, please make sure you hit this particular bullet point.
Yeah,
because we're trying to promote this particular match, but it doesn't have to be written by someone who's probably never even stepped foot in the ring.
Exactly. And my thing is, if they want to have promo class for wrestlers, then just go back and find the great promo guys and have them watch the promos and be like, you don't try to be like, don't try to be Jake Roberts, but pay attention to how he's giving a promo. Pay attention to how Arn Anderson or Ole Anderson or Tully Blanchard or Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, take them back, show them the history. And I feel like that's the problem, because they don't show these guys, these men and women, the history of promos, and such great promos out there. And then it's like, oh, well, I've got this television writer who has never done anything in pro wrestling, but they're going to write your promo for you.
Oh well, like we've always said, if they start listening to us, they'll be a lot better off.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, I don't know what we have planned for Thursday, because we've been having a lot of things coming our way.
Yeah.
Some things very unexpected. Some things are very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm still smiling about something that happened today that we will hopefully be able to announce here soon. Once, because we got something big happening with the podcast here.
Yeah, we got something huge. It's I honestly can't believe it's going to happen, but it is. And
we'll just say it's an interview.
Mm-hmm. It's an interview, but just stay tuned. And
but I do want to give some more shout outs to people. Jay and Trey, TNC Sports Talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, those guys are awesome. They have actually been endorsing our show we did yesterday. So they're going to make sure people have been, checking it out, because I think they should. It was a great show, and it meant something.
Yes.
And it's already gotten some views.
Yeah, I saw that. I was on our channel this morning, and I saw it's already gotten some views.
Yep, which means that just having one view means that it has more views than our last one did, which is odd.
Yeah,
that one's got downloads on the audio part, but nobody had looked at it on YouTube. I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, Jay and Trey, TNC Sports Talk, and Justin and I, we've texted a couple times. I mean, they have been so good to us, and so we always want to pass on our love to them too. If you don't subscribe to them already on YouTube or the audio platforms, which I believe they're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and maybe Spotify. I know they're not on all of them, but I know Justin, he's the main one that handles that. They've been trying to get on all the platforms as many as they can. And another one that I'm going to give some props to, and I will actually text him or text him, send him a message across Twitter and let him know. Ted the Hillbilly Heel.
Yes.
Yes.
I followed him the other day on Twitter, and he followed me back.
Yep, same here. And he has a podcast called The Heel Truth, and his Twitter is @HillbillyHeel, and he is somewhere in North Carolina. I'm going to have to send a message and say, hey, we're part of North Carolina. And according to that, he was also born in 1971, so dude's older than we are.
Yeah,
so but he retweeted our every time we do a podcast, just like right now, once I'm ready to upload, I always share them on Facebook and Twitter. Just hey, okay, here's the links if you want to listen to it. And we said we were given a preview of Elimination Chamber. He retweeted it and said, go listen to this. These guys are right on the money, or something along those lines. And I was like, oh, cool. Thanks, dude. And so I'm going to give him props too, because I listened to his. Oh yeah. I mean, he just started with this podcast. Because I mean, he's only had 3 episodes so far. But he's already, pretty good. You can tell he's actually put a lot of thought into it. And it's just him. I mean, he doesn't have anybody else on it. It's just him. And I'm like, yeah, that's scary. I mean, it is, so it's hard doing that on your own, because it's a lot more fun when you have somebody.
Yeah, to feed off of. And
so And yes, I definitely got to give him props for that one. And I'm gonna send a message to say, hey, we gave you a shout out on the show. Just want to let you know in case your ears are burning.
Yeah.
So and of course, I also want to give another shout out. There, it's not wrestling shows, but True Crime Cast and Blister Hearts is the same guys who do both of those, because they've actually given us shout outs in their show.
Yeah.
Like literally on their show. So, and these are guys, I mean, they've interviewed Jericho, and Jericho has interviewed them. I don't know which is more impressive, actually. I mean, both of them are pretty strong. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so, because like I said, we've had so many things just all of a sudden, just curveballs, but in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good way.
Oh yeah, it has a lot of positive things happen to us. And so, we've had to kind of shift gears on some things we had to do, because all of a sudden it's like, well, we got something scheduled, and boom, that's it. But yeah, so we have at least one pretty big interview scheduled for right now. It'll be in about 2 weeks. I will say that it'll be in 2 weeks, and but we have another one tentative for this weekend. He was supposed to be on the show this past Sunday, but he said maybe I can come on next Sunday, and I was like, cool. We've had him on before, and so we know dude's hilarious, and he was a great interview. Loves the business, and he really liked.
Also get his thoughts on
exactly
some of the issues we were discussing.
Yep, a continuation of that.
Yeah, with the guys yesterday.
Yep, and I'm going to work on another interview with somebody from the NWF, but it's somebody pretty well known. But I'm going to be working on that one in the next few days to see if we can get them on for next Monday. But yeah, so Thursday, I don't know what else is going on this coming weekend as far as wrestling goes. I do the NWF Rumble.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the NWF is going to be okay. I got to say this. Sorry, my daughter just texted us and said someone needs to tell Putin to eat a Snickers and calm down. that just kind of came out of nowhere. Anyway, but yeah, the NWF are having their Rumble down in Covington. That hits down in Covington on the 26th, I believe. Yep. And yeah, they're going to be crowning a new NWF champion. We had Roger Ruffin on here just last week talking about it, and they've been announcing a few more entrants as they go.
Right.
And the NWF, they put on a great show in Mount Orb, of course, this past Saturday. And, I went, and that's when made some final arrangements, like with Joe Per James. We wanted to make sure, boom, he knew 3:00 and blah, blah, blah. And also, they finally announced it today. Joelle and I have actually known about this for a few weeks, because I was told about it. I was asked to not talk about it yet.
Right.
But it was kind of giving me a heads up. The NWF is putting on an all-women show and you know what? I really wish I had the flyer in front of me. I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I saw it earlier today.
Oh, I've seen so many people retweeting it.
Yeah.
And sharing it on Facebook. So, and we could just go to Big Mom's page, because she's the one who originally told me about it. Man, it figures it's taken me forever. Seriously, I figured it'd be the first thing up.
Here it is. I found it. It is May 28th.
May the 28th.
Yep.
And that is actually going to be in Cincinnati. I don't know if it's going to be at Bone Crushers, even though it is on Vine Street, but I don't think there's Bone Crushers address. I'll have to look. But they are actually putting out, they're soliciting like advertisers, anybody who because my wife, she's contemplating actually buying some advertisements for her business.
Cool.
And I told her, hey, go for the biggest package that they will. Not only will they put you in the flyer, they'll have like a video of you, then they'll actually have you sponsoring a match.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So but yeah, they just announced that made it public today. And I'm looking forward to that because the NWS women's roster, I mean, it really is just absolutely packed.
It really is.
Yeah, because they actually had this weekend. They didn't have everybody from the NWF actually at the Mount Arm show. If you look at where some of them were, like I think Kristen Mize is down in Texas. Riley Matthews was in West Virginia. Somebody else was like in Indiana. I mean, they just went. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the Rumble is this coming Saturday, and besides that, I don't know anything else. Besides there, that's some Veer Mahan coming to Raw. Well, they've been saying that now for like 3 months.
Yeah,
That's like a running joke now.
Yeah, it's like at this point, it's like who cares?
Yeah, bring the dude on, and I don't know if they're going to his background, his actual thing, because the movie $1 Billion Arm or something like that is about him. It's actually legitimately about him, and which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I told my boss that, because my boss is actually from India.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's a wrestler now? I'm like, yep.
Like, yep.
Sure is. He's like, huh. But yeah, Revolution Rising, that's the name of it. Yeah, that's Selena Dean. She because at 5910 Vine Street. It's the VFW post. Okay. Hey, that's cool. I can say, hey, I'm a veteran. I'm not part of that VFW, but I'm part of the one in Mount Orb.
Right.
But anyway, I cannot think of anything else, because if we start talking about other news, we'll just be here all night.
Yeah, I can't either. Everybody that's again, we appreciate everybody that listens to our podcast. If you're watching it on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe, and keep watching. We hope we plan on bringing you more great content. So
absolutely, yeah, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, as the way they always say. And if I ever figure out a way to get the button up here, I will.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning.
Right.
I've caught on to a few tricks, and just try to, because after a while you just stare at me and Dwaylen. Well, yeah, we're not the prettiest. So, but until Thursday, my friend, God bless.
God bless.